Okay, I'm going to go through my book here, my books, all right? And I'm going to explain a lot of this. I'm just going to give it out for free. And I'm going to make a batch file of all the stuff I'm scanning. Okay, I'm going to scan all. I got about 200 pages so far scanned. Okay, this one's still not done, but I have quite a bit in this one here that has a lot in it. Basically, instead of trying to make money, I just want to solve things. I just want people to quit fighting. I just want some peace. Some peace and quiet. In the world, we used to never be like this. Back in the 80s, man, people got along. Through the 90s, it happened less and less and less to now. I mean, and it has to do with all this religious debate. That's really destroying us, okay? And the fact is, if they would just tell us the truth, which instead of suppressing all this stuff, then people would quit fighting because we'd know. You know, instead of two people arguing over some religious dogmatic stuff, we would know the truth because we can obviously see it because we have evidence of it all around. And quantum nature of the universe, I mean, literally can be proved, alpha and omega, because literally our literature proves it. And I don't want to make money off of something if I'm trying. It's like paying for peace. Why would you have to pay for peace? Look, I was going to try to publish this, okay? And, you know, make some money to support my family, my children. But at this point, I think it's selfish. I think it's selfish, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a batch file, and anyone that subscribes to this new channel that I'm going to make, it's basically, I'm going to name it Uniting Religion and Science for Peace. That's what I'm going to call it. And I'm going to scan all this, and anyone that subscribes, I'm going to send a batch file to them. I'm just going to email them a batch file. Anyone that subscribes of all this stuff. And they can go through it and read it themselves if they have any interest and get some answers. Because I know that there's a lot of stuff in here. Because several of my friends that I've showed them this, it's helped them a lot because they've had the same curiosity. They've wanted to know a lot of stuff and they couldn't necessarily grasp it because of all the stuff that they keep telling us. Okay? You have to forget all that. Okay? You have to know what the truth is, basically. You have to know, all right, I know the simple cause and effect. Okay, now I'm going to just scrap everything that they've been trying to make me believe, and I'm going to start from my own, from what I know. And then once I did that, everything changed. All kinds of stuff started showing up. I started realizing a lot of things. And it's not necessarily that our data is wrong, it's our perspective that's wrong. Okay? Our perspective is, we're looking this way when we should be looking right here. Okay? We're looking all around when we should be looking right here. See what I'm saying? It's our perspective. We have all the information. We're just not seeing it. We're not grasping it. But it's there. And all of this, and these spirals, and this, and all of this, literally, almost 2 decades of obsession and 30 years of obsession with the Ark of the Covenant has literally help me solve a lot of things. Now, you don't have to believe what I'm saying. You don't have to listen to what I'm saying. You don't even have to believe in the Ark of the Covenant. Okay? But I know that mankind, as intelligent as we are, did not sit around for a couple million years or 100,000 years, 200,000 years, and this all of a sudden, 100, 200 years ago, decide, I want to start building stuff. I'm going to start doing something. I just don't see that. Okay? Mankind we've had at least for a minimum of 60,000 years, we've had our modern consciousness. We've had our modern brain case, okay? That means we've had our potential, the potential we have now for tens of thousands of years, okay? And the reason we don't see evidence is because the earth eats it up. And all the stuff now all the archaeological finds that we find now that people are like, oh man, this implies this, this implies this. Why don't we quit with we think or implies and just say, look, fact is, this only signifies one simple thing, that humans have had technology on this planet before. We need to just accept it. Why can't we just accept that? Is it our egos? Is it indoctrination? What? I don't understand it. Why? This would be a completely new age. I mean, it would solve a lot of problems, and it would actually lead us down a new path. We would have a new technological era of advancement. I mean, we would literally know we would understand diseases and cells and astrophysics and all of this stuff so much better because this alpha and omega is literally in everything. I mean, literally everything that we know that exists. So if we would actually focus on how that works and understand the nature of the universe instead of quit debating on whether God exists or it don't exist, we can understand that the fact is it's just a description. It's a word chosen to describe something. That's what a nomenclature is. Okay? So when I say that there's a creator, literally space created everything, yeah. Okay? It used this alpha and omega to do this. But it's easier to say God than the quantum nature of the universe. The quantum nature of the universe has 10 syllables in it. God only has one. Okay? So technically, it's just the quantum nature of the universe, alpha and omega, the beginning and the end. Okay, it's very simple. God is basically energy and matter. E equals mc squared. Just a quick review here. All right. Our chronology of our Big Bang is a little messed up. It's got us basically a Big Bang coming from nothing. All right, but space has always existed. Okay, that means the nuclear energy and electric energy, the nucleons, which are quarks, and leptons, which are electrons, are all that exists inside this infinite space, all right? Quarks are self-born point particles, basically, all right? They can exist in high energy states and low energy states. They can exist in nucleons as matter, or they can exist as high energy as a point particle, flashes, micronova. They're basically micronova. Yes, there is a microcosm and there is a macrocosm, all right? Now, this is the living potential energy, okay? This is living energy. It's not alive like a heartbeat. No, it's living energy. It's animated. It's moving. It's doing stuff, all right? So, this is all the protons and neutrons, okay? This is the nucleons. This is all the electrons. This is the father alpha. This is the mother omega, okay? Panspermia, okay? Now, you have a complete singularity, right? E equals mc squared, all right? So, we have energy equals matter times the speed of light squared. That is the Big Bang. All right. Once it goes boom, it's going to spread in a kinetic energy, dark energy. Time begins in a linear fashion. Boom, outward. That's propagation of matter. All right. Time is basically a measurement of matter. So you have to consider the fact that time does not exist unless you have matter. All right. This is unrealized. We're not seeing this, but it's important to understanding physics. We're taking a little bit of stuff too lightly, all right? There's depth. Space has depth. There's a little bit more detail to it than we actually have, all right? So now, light, okay, I'm going to get to light and sound in a minute. Light and sound are basically this one and the same. They're symbiotic, all right? Now, all of this kinetic energy time starts, all right? Light and sound are going to happen. You're going to get a lot of light and a lot of sound, okay? The ether is the electromagnetic radiated medium that we exist in. We exist in the light, okay? That's a radiated medium. That's the proto-light, boom, that's spread out, all right? Space already exists still, all right? You can't inflate empty space. This expansion that we see is basically the light spreading out with all the matter, all right? It's just spreading, okay? The space itself still exists there, or this stuff wouldn't be able to spread into that space. See what I'm saying? All right. Now, so the light is the ether. It's the radiated medium, all right? And light will literally propagate through this medium, and we can't travel faster than it because it has a 13.7 billion year head start, okay? So, it's pretty far out there. All right, so now, boom, you have sound and light. All right, so we already covered the light. Now we have the sound, an echo, the cosmic microwave background, a frequency, a loud sound, all right? What happens when you take a frequency and you put it through water? It makes all kinds of weird designs. It makes stars and little galaxy-looking things and all these formations in the water, all right? This sound is what dark matter is, all right? Now, I'll explain it in a second, but hold on. Light and sound. The medium is formed and still spreading rather than inflating. All right, now, the ether, the light from the Big Bang, visible universe, analogous to light scattering through Earth's atmosphere. All right, so imagine how say you have glitter and you throw a bunch of little particles all up in the air and you shine a flashlight through it. All right, now, you're going to see that light bounce. It's going to traverse each one of those. That's basically how the light is spreading through space, how it propagates through space. The medium of space is like water. Okay, it's almost like there's particles there, but they're not. They're completely subatomic. They're so small that we really can't see them, but we know they're there. And the light will spread through them, kind of like a domino effect. That's how it travels. All right. Now let me just read what I got here, because I'll end up digressing. All right. Ether, light from the Big Bang, visible universe. Like I said, analogous. All right. Light traverses the glitter. Ether, the atmosphere, similar to an atmosphere, how light spreads through our atmosphere. All right. Domino effect. All right. The light will traverse the glitter, skipping from one particle to the next. Ether is like tiny micromatter, similar to how Earth's atmosphere allows sound waves to traverse it. All right. The light beam can traverse the medium, the ether, the radiated medium. Okay. The light stops here at this black hole because it cannot traverse that. There's no medium to traverse. Okay. We can't see it because we were in it. We're in this light. That's why we can't necessarily see it. We just know it's there. Okay. All we can see it is as light from other stars. Now, here's where I get into the dark matter. All right. Now, like I said, sound. Cosmic microwave background. All right. Like I said, whenever you run sound frequencies through water, it creates formations. That's why we have galaxies and stars, because this sound. Okay, sound can't travel. The denser matter is, the denser something is, the faster sound can travel through it. All right. In space, it's not dense at all. It hardly has anything to travel through. So it lingers, similar to how smoke would linger. Okay, and that lingering around this galaxy is going to be the dark matter. It's going to give it momentum also, okay? It's going to hold things together and give it momentum. It's going to be an outside force. So all of these stars, whenever they're producing energy, they're creating a lot of sound, but we can't hear it. But it is still there. E equals mc squared. It's going to linger around like smoke would, except for it's in space, we can't see it. That's why we can't technically detect it. We know it's there, we can detect it, but we can't see it, because you can't see sound. Okay, you can only hear it. And that's why we had to hear it from the cosmic microwave background, the CMB, through the static. Okay? So, dark matter is literally sound. Okay? It's sound frequencies. Each star has its own frequency. All right, look. Space acts similar to water. The fabric of interstellar space, or interstellar medium, is fluid and malleable. All right. Sound bubbles in water turn to light when they reach the surface. All right. That means sound and light are interchangeable. All right. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. Energy to matter is energy to matter is M equals E minus C2. All right. Matter to energy, E equals MC squared. All right. Light to sound, E equals mc2. Okay. Sound to light. All right. Now, speed of sound. 767 miles per hour. It'll travel 7 miles per second through diamond. All right. Carbon is very important. Now, speed of light, 670,616,629. All right. Basically 666, ironically. And there's a lot of sixes, trust me. Okay. All of these loud, bright stars create sound and light frequencies. Okay? Every star and galaxy has a unique frequency or energy signature. That means it has a certain sound that it puts off. Okay? That's why they're going to look different. Okay? A lot of sound are going to create different types of gravities too. All right? So the sound that all of these stars are putting out is lingering. Imagine it being smoke and just hanging around, and it's giving this galaxy so much momentum. All right? Now, these sound frequencies help stars form from the echo, the CMB, and holds galaxies together while giving them momentum. All right? The song of the stars, or the voice of God. You know, like in Dogma, how it talks about God's voice is so loud it would destroy us and all that. Literally, if we were to hear a star fusing in all this energy, the sound waves would literally destroy us. Okay? Hollywood knows something. Anyway. CMB, dark matter. All right. You can't see sound. We can only detect it. All right. Sound from the Big Bang and stars. Okay. Sound frequencies will create formations like stars, while the stars, along with the CMB, create different galaxy formations in the waters of space. All right. Sound frequencies create star patterns and cosmic formations in water. Sound lingers in space, traveling very slowly. This lingering frequency is dark matter. All right. See, it's going to linger around in space because space is so, it's not dense at all. The denser, the better sound can propagate. If there's no density, space has a density to it, but it's so faint that the sound is like, I mean, literally, it cannot move. It cannot move. All it can do, it can move, but it can't actually travel. I mean, it can literally only just hang around. That's all it can do. The sound cannot actually travel in a linear fashion. All right? Now, like I was saying, sound travels 39,000 feet per second through diamond, okay, which is a carbon allotrope. All right? Now, a lot of this is figured that the singularity is like a diamond. It's a giant neutron star, basically. It's a diamond. It's made from ash, okay? I'll get to all that later. All right, I'm just going to try to cover what I can here real quick. I mean, of course, this video is already 16 minutes long. Anyway, all right, so you have 39,000 feet per second divided by 5,280 feet. Gives you 7.3, okay? 3,600 seconds. Okay, that's an hour. All right, so now we have 26,590,000. All right? Well, actually 26,000. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So times 7, you'll give you the speed of light, which is ironic because that divided down into 7.3. And, you know, you got your days of the week, 6 days. And then the 7th day, God rested, yada, 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 all that. Well, anyway, you got a week. So through diamond, we can actually create light with sound and diamond. I do not doubt this. All right. The speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. 5% the speed of light, which is alpha particles, 9,300. That's 0.01%. All right. That 0.01% is basically a distance, 93 million miles. All right. That is the 0.01% of 93 million. All right. So then the light, you'll get the velocity of Earth whenever you divide that up. You'll get 67,061, which is basically our velocity. Okay, 5%. Let's see, 5% the light miles per hour is 33,530,831. So I'm still working on all this. I'm still working on it. But carbon, light, and sound are very important. A very important material. It's very important things to know. All right. Now, the universe here. Okay. A verse of infinity. That's everything out here. All right. There is a furthest edge of our universe because it's finite. Okay. Now, there's no brick wall out there or anything. It just keeps going. There's more space. All right. Space is infinite. All of this, there's the furthest reaches. All right. I'll get to that in a second. I'll just read this. All right. Like I said, with space, it has its own set of laws. That's what I was explaining in that other video. All right. Now, we live in a macronova remnant. Like a Crab Nebula is a supernova remnant. That's what we live in. But a singularity is like a star in a way. All right. Imagine this is our local group, these 3 dots inside here. That's our local group. This is the size of the singularity. All right. We say it was tiny. Obviously, it was tiny compared to all this infinite space that still exists. They're trying to say space didn't exist, but they're saying, oh, it was really, really tiny. Technically, you cannot size that. You cannot size it. You can't say, oh, it was really, 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 really tiny. Okay, relative to what? Relative to what? Empty, infinite space. They contradict themselves right there, just like the laws of thermodynamics contradict. All right, so now you have the universe. All right, this local group. This singularity would be bigger than this local group. But compared to space, it would be tiny. But compared to us, when you zoom in on our fundamental cosm, it would be huge. Okay? Now, this is the universe. All right? Light and sound. Space, time. Space and matter relative to one another. You'll have time. Okay? Other than that, it's just timeless space. Okay? Outside of the universe is the verse of infinity. It's a verse. It's just a verse of infinity. Okay? This infinity is timeless space. We cannot time that. It has no time. We are just this little dot. Okay? This singularity was huge, but it was just a tiny dot compared to space. Our whole universe is basically just one gigantic cosmic cell. Okay? It's a cell. It's a giant cell in space. Okay? Because it's going to keep going. Infinity still exists. All of that outside that is God. the nuclear and electric energy and all of this space that is fathomless existence is God. All right? Everything outside that. Because it does exist. Right now, it exists outside that. Everything outside the furthest reaches, the outer edges of our universe, the furthest reaches of matter, outside that is God. It's infinite. All right. So you have timeless space. Okay. Alpha and omega, nuclear and electric energy. Space, quarks, leptons, nucleons, electrons, carbon, ash. Okay. Because everything reduces to ash. Ash to ashes, dust to dust. There's ash and 0-point particles, all this stuff, 0-point energy. All of this stuff out in space. All right. Existence and propagation of matter equal time. Okay. Now, m plus c2 equals time. T equals m plus c2, basically. All right. Singularity. Okay, so first you have timeless space. All of this, the carbon ash, all of this ends up becoming a singularity. Space and matter, which is potential energy. Okay. Boom, the Big Bang. Now space-time, kinetic energy. Time, dark energy. Energy begins. Kinetic energy, time begins, it's dark energy. Boom. Linear fashion. All right. Space and matter together create time as a byproduct. Space, matter, and time. All right. All right, I haven't darkened any of this, but all right. Our chronology says the Big Bang is right here. Boom, and then quarks and leptons and all this stuff forms. Well, what made the Big Bang? The singularity. Doesn't make any sense. Well, from what we know, the laws of thermodynamics state that quantum states of nuclear and electric energy have always existed. Therefore, the quarks and leptons come before. Okay, they come together and form the singularity. Then the singularity, boom, blows up, and hydrogen, helium, and lithium are produced. All right. Now, the horizons problem that we have is basically why do we have a pretty fairly even temperature across the universe? It's basically to solve this, we'd have to have all of this stuff cooking up in a brew and boom, then spreading. Okay? That's exactly what this does. It's like a giant star. Okay? It sat there, cooked up, and boom, blew up. No different than a supernova would do. Nothing new happens in the universe. Okay? Everything just happens again and again. Everything is cyclical. And no matter what it is, it has a smaller version. Okay? So nothing new happens in the universe. It just happens again on a different scale. Okay? As above, so below. All right? This is true. This is a fact. I mean, we can see this in atoms, that they look like solar systems and stuff. I mean, we literally see this. Okay? Everything has nucleons and electrons. I mean, all matter in the universe has alpha and omega. Everything. Alpha and omega literally exists in everything. So, literally, the alpha and omega would have to create this singularity, because stars are basically potential energy, which is nuclear energy and electric energy together. All right? You basically create a star, micro star. All right? That's what the Ark of the Covenant basically did, but I digress. You're going to have a cell, more or less. Imagine it being like a cell. It has a nucleus and it has its outer covalent electron shell, whatever. All right? It's egg. So now you have stars and everything. So this forms, then it blows up, and you have sparks flying off, like I was saying about a bottle rocket. It blows up, and all of it ends up reducing to ash. Eventually, everything is going to reduce to ash. It's going to get dark, cold, and all happen over again. All right. Just to give you a little insight on stars. Okay. Stars are alive. Stars are living beings. Okay. Living existence. A being means existence. That's all it means. Supreme being means supreme existence. As far as I'm concerned, the supreme existence would be space. Okay? Now, plasma and life. And then there's bio-life. Okay? Bioplasma, bio-life. All right. The alpha and the omega, or the nuclear and electric, of the universe is living potential energy. It exists in and as everything. Life evolves as a quantum zygote, blasting, becoming an embryo of life and matter. A universe is born. All right. It says in the Bible, 6 days. Everything was created in 6 days. Now, when a woman gets pregnant, whenever the nuclear energy hits the electric energy, it basically doesn't become a zygote for 6 days. Okay? It blasticized. in 6 days. It moves to the uterus. All right? So, this right here coincides and mirrors what that says and how we know that our biological life forms. Okay? So, panspermia isn't exactly all that dumb at all. Nuclear energy hitting the electric energy. Okay? Anyway. And then in 6 days, it blasticized. It blasts and becomes a universe. See what I'm saying? It spread, it propagates. Now, it does exactly what a cell does in a woman's womb. All right. Now, space is so cold. Okay, look. Life evolves according to conditions. All right? So, space is so cold, dark, and infinite. It has such hostility that life evolved as a ball of fire that can last eons. So basically, since space is so cold, if it's going to live, it's got to be hot. Okay? If it's so dark, the life is going to have to be bright. Okay? And it's vast and infinite. These stars are going to have to be huge to maintain themselves. All right? So the first life in the universe evolved as stars. Stars are the first life in the universe. And I say that also because they're plasma. Okay? We are made of plasma. We are alive. Plants, cytoplasm. Okay? Plasma. Life. Okay? Everything alive has plasma. Everything. No matter what it is, if it has plasma, then it is living. Bottom line, it is living. A tree and a star live pretty much the same way. They're not conscious, but they're animate. See what I'm saying? They do have life to them, but they're not conscious. They don't have a heartbeat. There's no difference between a living tree and a living star. They're both alive. All right. And they're both made of plasma. All right. Now, relative to the vastness of space, the singularity would be a dot, lasting a Planck time. All right. It could have lasted 1,000 years. But compared to the universe, that 1,000 years was a blink. Planck times. So whenever we start getting into Planck times and the size of the singularity and all that, we're comparing it to empty infinite space, which they say didn't exist, which completely contradicts themselves and the laws of thermodynamics. Anyway, you don't have to listen or believe anything I'm saying. Like I said, I'm just giving the information, okay? If you don't want to listen to it, that's fine. I don't care. I'm just trying to create peace by solving some problems that people keep arguing over. And it's very easy. It's very easy. Just draw back from the argument and start working on it. Instead of sitting there fighting, you're not going to solve anything. You have to go solve it, then try to accomplish something. You can't accomplish something by sitting and fighting. Okay, so relative to us, it would be huge and last a long time. So if you zoomed in on it, relative to us on our scale, then it would be bigger than our local group, like that picture I just showed you about the three little dots being our local group. It would be larger than our local group, okay? But when you zoom out so far on the cosmic scale, literally it's only a dot that lasts seconds, all right? Now, okay, this life, carbon 666, plasma, yearns to live. Evolution takes place. With eternity, the plasma becomes hot, bright, macro, and wants to live a very long time, a high energy state, and even longer in a low energy state. All right, so how quarks exist, okay, they come into existence, they pop out, all right? But in a low energy state, quarks can last for a long time because they're basically protons and neutrons, okay? But in a high energy state, they're like a little micronova, okay? This is the exact same way, as above, so below. Everything mirrors itself, okay? On the micro subatomic scale, the singularity does the exact same thing on a macro scale, okay? E equals mc squared. So, in a high energy state, this thing is going to live a lot less than it would in a low energy state. So, boom, once this blasts like a cell would, in 6 days or however, technically 6 days in space would be in cosmic scales, if you just divide it, it'd be 2.25 billion years. A day would be 2.25 billion years, more or less. All right. Now, so now in a high energy state, or in a low energy state, this is going to last forever. Now it's a universe. It's in a lower energy state. Okay? Like quarks. Quarks in a high energy state are only going to last a second, like point particles. Okay? But in low energy state, like I said, in a low energy state, they will last as protons and neutrons, as matter. And that's exactly what this does. It does exactly the same thing. Okay? Now, when you have these point particles, popping in and out of existence. They're like micronova, all right? They're self-born. They're quarks, okay? Though it pops in and out of existence, that is still energy. That energy is something. There's nuclear energy there. It might be small amounts, but there is nuclear energy there. E equals mc squared. Energy, it only converts, okay? So when you have that point particle coming in, it's like a little micronova, and it emitted energy. It's a small amount of energy, but it's energy nonetheless. On a cosmic scale, you have this happening all over the universe, or at least in our local area of space, then you're going to have all that energy coming together to form this singularity. From plasma, literally from pure energy, nuclear energy. Now, the reason, all right, alpha, okay. Alpha emits beta decay. This is when a neutron turns into an electron through beta decay, okay? Now, this means that alpha emits a beta, or omega, okay? It gives out its mate force, okay? Alpha literally produces the mother force, okay? The male produces the female. So the male carries male and female, okay? So now you have that nuclear energy turning into electric energy also. That means, that explains why a man carries the chromosome for X and Y, okay? Because literally the Y male chromosome, alpha, that nuclear energy, that nucleus, carries the omega, the mother force, okay? So that explains the nature of why man carries the genes for X and Y, okay? But you need, in order to create, you have to have both of these, okay? You cannot create if you only have one, all right? And that's what it says in the Bible, when it says, talks about in the Bible. All right, I only believe the Torah. I don't believe much of anything else in the Bible. The Torah is the only real truth that I can see that has to do with any kind of science, all right? The rest of it was written by dudes, all right? Now, all right, so like when it says that Eve came out of Adam from his rib, well, I mean, that kind of makes sense. That coincides also, which is ironic, you know? So, I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. I'll probably have to put it on another video. But nonetheless, it has some nature here that it can actually be corroborated. And the answers are basically right in front of us. I just don't see how people can't see it. I don't know. I think they just want to fight. But the nature of life, like us as us being sons of God, okay, if you consider the quantum nature of the universe as God, and we are sons of God, all right, a star is nuclear and electric energy. We are nuclear, bionuclear, we get that from our fathers, and bioelectric, mitochondrial, we get that from our mother. We are living stars. We are all stars. That's where the term, I think that's where the term comes from. Then they call people stars in Hollywood. Hollywood knows something. Like I said, Hollywood knows something, all right? We are all stars. We are living stars, okay? We are living beings that have the same energy as stars. We counter entropy by taking in nutrients, okay? But eventually we will die, all right? So life is anything that counters entropy by taking in supplements. All right, now, parsec eon. Parsec eon, 3.2 billion light years. Now, we don't have a measurement of a parsec eon. I've had to actually apply this, okay? A parsec is basically 3.2 light years, all right? An eon is a billion. So, 3.2 billion light years is a parsec eon, all right? 1 macro light year. All right, like the Crab Nebula. I believe it certainly has life, all right? But see how we live in a macronova remnant? It's like a nebula. We live in a nebula. There is a center of our universe. There really is. It's where everything came from, all right? This is like the electric, the weak force, the covalent. Okay, this is the mother force. Now imagine these are singularity, okay? And they're spaced parsec eons away from each other. I mean, they're so far apart, literally, that the light from one will probably never reach us. And if it does, we would have to have some kind of extreme technology to be able to see it. Okay, so basically they would be like xenoparsecs away from each other, all right? Very, very unfathomable distances. But nonetheless, they would still be composed of one thing. They would be one megastructure. Okay. Singularity are quantum stellar stars, macro interstellar, relative to us. Okay. They're macro interstellar to relative to us. Okay. They're quantum stellar stars when it comes to space. But to us, they're macro interstellar. Now, this is just a theory. Okay. I'm going beyond the singularity. Okay. Now, but space already exists. It has to exist. Okay. It already does exist. And there are more than just one singularity, I'm sure. There's got to be in all that infinite space, billions and billions of light years past the furthest reaches of our galaxy. There's got to be another one. And this is where the multiverse theory kicks in. If you have multiple stars and you zoom out, they'll all come together to form one structure. Okay? Keep zooming out. All those galaxy structures will form a local group. See what I'm saying? Every time you have many, many, many of something, when you zoom out, all that becomes one structure. And then you zoom out, all of that becomes many of them. And then that becomes one structure again. So it keeps going and keeps going. And this is actually a theory too. But I don't know why it's not the theory, because it's literally the only answer that makes sense. All right. Singularity in a family of quantum stellar stars composing a macrocosmic galaxy. Okay, like I said, this is just a theory. A macro stellar group are the singularity that are the closest neighboring, the macro local group. All right. A macro interstellar group are all of the neighboring macro galaxies. Okay, so imagine all of these singularity are in one gigantic galaxy. Literally, one gigantic galaxy. Just like the Crab Nebula, our universe is a nebula in this gigantic galaxy. See what I'm saying? Just a theory, like I said. But from what I know from astrophysics, it does make quite a bit of sense. And just like I said, just like an analogy. Our whole universe, just a tiny part of a macrocosmic galaxy. That would be our whole universe. Right there, our whole universe. And all the other singularity around it. Okay? So, the multiverse theory is not impossible. Now, logically, we have a finite amount of DNA in our body. Obviously. There's like 7 billion base pairs, or whatever we have, regardless. There is actually a possibility that once so many people are born, that the arrangement of your DNA will be born again. Literally. Literally, you will be born again eventually. You know, it might not be you per se, but your genetic identity will be born again because it's finite. It can only happen so many times before it happens again. All right? That means that when it comes to all these macro stars, basically, or singularity in a universe, literally, if there's any other universes and humans in them, which I know there are, then they would be related to us, for one, and two, you would no doubt have a copy of yourself somewhere. Now, it won't be you, per se, but genetically, it would be a copy of you. Because, like I said, anything finite can only repeat. Anything that's finite can only happen again. It can't. If it's infinite, then it's not going to happen again. It's never going to end. So if it's finite, that means it has an ending and has to start over. So there's a lot of concepts. Like I said, none of this proves that we're wrong in any way. What it is it just gives us a completely different perspective. And it proves to us a lot of things that we've only suspected or even theorized. And the fact is, when they say, well, I don't see, when I've seen people have actually said, well, I don't see any proof anywhere. That's all I'm using, like I said, is proof. Okay? So anything I say in here that is a fact, and then I rewind using the answer to find the question, Jeopardy style, that question, it's a question that was answered. See what I'm saying? With a fact. So the proof is the fact that it's the fact. I can't produce proof of it because we already have it. I don't know what people want me to say when they say that. I mean, I already let them know and tell them, but I think they just want to fight. Literally. I think a lot of people don't want peace on this planet. And a lot of people get Satanism and atheism completely mixed up. Okay? If I said all this to an atheist and it proved there's no God, okay, technically they would be like, all right, you know what? I believe that. I believe that, dude. Even if I said that God is the quantum nature of the universe, they would listen and believe that because that proves that there is no God. See what I'm saying? It proves that there's just a quantum nature of the universe and God is just a word. But they're not looking at that. When I say that it's the quantum nature of the universe, they're like, oh, you're stupid. That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard. You know, they insult. And I'm not trying, look, I ain't got nothing against atheists. All right? I got nothing against them. I got several friends that are atheists. All right? But they believe this, okay, because it makes sense. And it proves what they always thought all along, okay? So, literally, if you're an atheist, then, or a true atheist and not a Satanist, then you wouldn't have any problem with believing this because it proves what you already believe. All you're hearing is where I'm saying that is God. You're saying, oh my God, that's so stupid, da-da-da-da-da, and not listening to what I'm saying. You're just hearing me say the word God, and that's what the word God does, and that's what it means, the word of God. Because everybody will argue the word. It's just a word. It's a name. It's like saying that fan doesn't exist. It's actually a blade with a center. I just called it a fan because it's easier to say than a blade with a center that rotates with a magnetic electrical spin. I mean, the quantum nature of the universe is a lot harder to say than just God. See what I'm saying? A lot of people think it's cool to not believe in God. Look, like I said, if you're a real atheist, you wouldn't have any problem in believing this. All right? Satanists, on the other hand, they only want to fight. They only want despair. They only want argument. That's all they want. They don't want to solve anything. They don't want to figure anything out. They like drama. They're drama queens. They're drama queens. Straight up. Okay? So, I'm just trying to answer a couple of questions. I'm just trying to help some people that, want to understand some of this stuff. Like I said, I'll literally copy all of this stuff and make a batch file of it, okay? And I will literally send everyone a copy that subscribes to this channel. And all I ask is that all I ask is if you try to get the word out. Because I'm doing it for peace. Because I know this can solve a lot of problems and a lot of arguing. And I just want people to get along. I don't want to die in a world where the most intelligent species on the planet couldn't even maintain peace. Couldn't even get along. Evil is malevolence and intelligence together. Evil doesn't exist outside mankind. Okay? A tornado isn't evil. A tsunami isn't evil. All right? It's Earth doing what it has to do to be able to maintain itself. Yes, it might kill billions of people or hundreds of thousands of people, but it saves many, many more. I mean, if the world didn't do what it does, then it wouldn't be able to sustain itself. I mean, it's better that a couple thousand people died than a couple billion, And people don't look at it that way. They think that, that tsunami did this, then God's evil and kills people and blah, 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 blah. Look, God isn't evil. It doesn't even have a consciousness. The only consciousness of the God is all of our consciousnesses together. A collective consciousness. That's the consciousness of God. See what I'm saying? So, literally, evil only exists in man. And that's all the evil people obviously aren't going to care. They're going to want drama and fighting and arguing and people killing people and all this. But if you really want peace, all I ask is if you share or spread the video around. Try to get it to some people. Show some friends. Even if you think this is completely retarded. Even if you think I'm a stupid dipwad. Okay? I don't care. Show your friends so they can take in laughing at me. Okay? That's all I ask. I just want the more people to understand and know, and that the answers are there. They're right in front of us. And once we can actually get on this trail, like I've been working on, I finally got on the trail and I've been solving things left and right. If physicists with more resources than I got can get on this trail, then we can literally solve pretty much everything. We would know the key to the universe. We would know the secrets of the universe. Okay? We would know how to manipulate matter and everything. This would literally make us living gods understanding this. Now, it is a big responsibility, and we can destroy ourselves with this. All right? if we do not accept it as a responsibility, okay? And mankind is kind of ignorant sometimes. Now, I don't want to give us something that's going to kill us. I try to have a little bit of faith in mankind, all right? I still give him the benefit of the doubt. Even though I shouldn't, I still do, okay? Because not everybody's bad. Not everybody's bad. There are still good people out there. And that's what I ask. That the good people out there that are interested in this stuff, that are like me, that just want to solve the problems, to get it out to the world so everyone would quit fighting, I just ask that you'd share and help me get it out to the world. Please help me. That's all I'm asking, is that we can get this to the world and finally solve a lot of problems. You know, theologians, some of them, they would be upset with this. And some atheists, trust me, I've had problems with both of them. Okay, both of them jumping down my ass like I'm the devil, or I'm some kind of religious fanatic, you know. But I'm neither of those. I'm open-minded. I've always been a person that was never completely satisfied with what we're taught. I've never been satisfied with it. Never. I've never been satisfied with there is a God. I've never been satisfied with there isn't a God. I've believed. I've been a non-believer. I've been all around. I'm open-minded. No matter what it is, I'm not going to shun it. I'm not going to shut it down and say, nope, nope, nope. You know, I did sing a different tune a few years ago, you know, when it came to the Bible and Jesus. Now, I still believe there's credibility in the Bible, but a lot more of it I found out, you know, manipulation is a key when it comes to it. The Torah, don't get me wrong, the Torah, I believe in the Torah. But when it comes to a lot of the other stuff that was added later through Catholicism was just trying to start from scratch. All right, I can get into all that when it comes to the Holy See and the Vatican and Jesus' martyrdom and all that. I mean, I've solved some ironic stuff about that, and that's what a lot of religious people get